We're ready, yes.
Great. Good evening. I'd like to invite everyone to this March 12th meeting of the Patton Township Board of Supervisors. Patton Township is a place for all, so I'd like to welcome anyone who's new to the community and anybody who's here. We're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance, so as you are able, please rise and join us in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Are there any announcements that anyone wishes to share this evening? Any additions to the posted agenda? Any board members or any members of the audience? Can they also suggest that? Or
Just you. Just the board.
Okay, just seeing none, we'll move right along. We're next at our moment of public comment. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak? Please approach the podium and state your name, where you live. Thank you.
Hello. Okay. My name is Elliot Killian. I reside in,
Can you hear me? Is he on?
Yeah, he should be fine.
Okay, great, thanks.
Might just need to speak up a little bit.
Hello, my name is Elliot Killian. I reside in Ferguson Township. I'm here to talk about R4 high-density housing in Patton Township. The proposed, so I presented a report to all of you. Okay. The proposed R4 zoning changes are designed to increase the housing supply, making it more accessible and more affordable, modernize land use policies and encourage sustainability, well-planned development, improve transportation access while reducing reliance on personal vehicles, and create vibrant multi-use communities that enhance quality of life. Right now in Patton Township is growing, but the availability of new housing is not keeping up with demand. This has led to rising rents and home prices, pushing workers and families further away, longer commutes, increasing traffic congestion and transportation costs. I personally know people that have to travel 2 hours that work in the center region and have to travel 2 hours away to find somewhere affordable to live. Workforce shortages as employees struggle to find housing near their jobs. At the same time, the current R3 zoning is too restrictive to meet the modern housing needs. The maximum height, lot coverage limits, and parking requirements make it difficult for developers to build the kind of housing that our community needs. This is why Patton Township needs to adopt R4 high-density housing. While many people in Center Region and Center County struggle to find housing, affordable workforce housing can be a controversial issue. NIMBY, or Not in My Backyard, is a common reaction for housing projects being proposed. Adjacent residents fear the change and potential impacts. However, they overlook or dismiss the positives of new housing. For some, affordable housing and high-density housing are words that bring fear to them, not hope. Costs rise every year. As a township, you have 3 options to address rising costs in your budget. 1 is to reduce taxes, to raise taxes. 2 is to reduce services. And 3 is to increase tax-paying residents. If someone is against new housing, they're signing up for increased taxes or reduced services. In addition, the high cost of housing is a major cause of inflation. If someone comes here and asks you to oppose new housing, I want you to make sure that they confirm that they want higher taxes, worse services, and a higher cost of housing, because that is what they're signing up for. In my report, I included several ideas for the R4 zoning that Patton could use, including questions that the township should discuss. Some key features that are included in that R4 zoning include raising the maximum heights from 3 floors to 5 floors, allowing for more housing per acre, significantly increasing housing supply, expanding the maximum lot coverage to 75%, and you could consider 100% coverage, ensuring land is efficiently used. The zoning promotes green infrastructure like green roofs, permeable surfaces, and underground stormwater storage to balance high-density development with environmental sustainability and stormwater. The elimination of building-to-building setbacks that are in R3 on the same property, allowing for more efficient land use while ensuring appropriate spacing between different developments. Developing Developments near bus transit will have lower parking requirements, incentivizing public transportation use. Expand accessory uses to allow for better amenities for residents and reduce the need for personal vehicles. And you can incentivize this by reducing parking requirements. The proposed R4 would more than double the housing units compared to R3. If we move forward with these improvements, R4 zoning, the benefits would be significant. More housing choices for workers and families, lower rental and home ownership costs as housing supply increases, better transportation options and reduced congestion, a stronger local economy with more businesses and jobs, a smarter, more sustainable land use that preserves agricultural land and open space. At the end of the day, this is what it is about, making Patton Township a place where people can afford to live, work, and thrive. You, as the Board of Supervisors, have the power to make that action, to modernize your zoning and create a future that benefits everyone. I urge you to support these proposals for the R4 zoning changes to improve Patton Township. We have an opportunity to shape the future of Patton Township in a way that benefits everyone. Let's take the necessary actions today to build a stronger tomorrow. Thank you for your time, and thank you for serving in local government.
I think this is not a time when we have discussion, am I correct? But I do want to thank you wholeheartedly for coming, making this presentation, giving us the packet that you just described in summary, and suggesting that we consider it. The proper pathway is for us to officially look at this as an agenda item, which we will do at our next meeting, and then decide at that point whether we will pass this on to the Planning Commission. But I think we can't hear too often, we cannot hear too many times about the need for affordable, attainable housing. So I appreciate both your presentation tonight and the packet that accompanies that. Does anyone else on the board have any comments?
Elliot does.
Okay, yeah, sure. Elliot?
Shouldn't this also be sent to the Planning Commission for them to read?
I think that's what I said.
Yeah, so I think you would discuss it at your meeting on the
Sorry.
26th, and then if you want them to look at it further, you would forward it over to the Planning
That's what I
Commission.
meant to say, yeah. So as in the email that we received and passed, I think we passed that on, maybe not. Mr. Killian asked that we share with the Planning Commission and the proper procedures for us to consider it, and then officially as an agenda item, and then make a recommendation whether or not to pass it on to the Planning Commission.
Public comments also.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, as one does on an official agenda item. Great, thanks. Any other comments from the board at this point? Again, thank you so much. I'm looking forward to poring over that. I just skimmed it. I apologize, haven't spent the time. We're going to move next to public hearings and presentations. And we'll start out actually with a presentation about Women's History Month. And I was going to have my fellow women supervisors, but one of them is coming down with a cold, so the other one is going to be reading it. Susan Hychesky, thanks.
Am I reading the whole thing or what you circled?
Is that what it is? Oh, I thought you talked. Yeah.
Okay.
The whole thing, please.
Okay. So recognizing March as Women's History Month. Whereas Congress in 1987 established the month of March as Women's History Month to celebrate and affirm the important and countless contributions of women and girls who have fought tirelessly and courageously for equality, justice, and opportunity in our nation. And whereas women have been leaders not only in securing their own rights of suffrage and equal opportunity, but also at the forefront of every major progressive social change movement in history, paving the way for future generations. And whereas countless women, most of them forgotten to history, sacrificed and worked tirelessly for equality with the vision, action, and determination of the next generation of women and girls, and whereas each woman is extraordinary in her own way, women of every age, race, ethnicity, and economic background have made historic and significant contributions, proving that women working in science, technology, business, labor, education, governance, and more maintain a critical role in every segment of society. And whereas the theme of Women's History Month 2025 is Moving Forward Together, Women Educating and Inspiring Generations, and whereas this theme celebrates the collective strength and influence of women who have dedicated their lives to education, mentorship, and leadership, and whereas Women's History Month is a milestone that will continue with the next generation of extraordinary women and girls, and a legacy of many women who were denied the right of freedom and equality, in which many suffered and others paid the ultimate price. And whereas we stand on the shoulders of those courageous women with pride, dedication, gratitude, and a sense of purpose. Now therefore be it resolved that the Patton Township Board of Supervisors does hereby proclaim March as Women's History Month, honoring the contributions made by women and girls everywhere for their outstanding achievements and invaluable contributions to society.
Any comments from the board, or do we simply just, Susan has declared? Elliot?
I'll second that and also suggest that next year we make sure that we announce these things before they start. Here we are in the middle of the month already, and half the time's gone.
Yeah, exactly, but we didn't meet the first
Right.
week of the, early in the month because of prior engagements, but yeah,
It's
for
very
sure.
important.
Yeah, this is our first meeting this month, so maybe we should mention it in February. Anyway, so noted. Any other comments? Then we've got a motion. Do we have a second?
We don't have a motion.
Oh, do we have a motion? Do we need a motion?
We need a motion.
May I have a motion? So moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. So it's officially Women's History Month right here in Patton Township. Thank you, Susan, for reading that. We're going to move on to, actually, we had scheduled 2 public hearings. We're going to have 1 public hearing, and I'm assuming, Amy, you're going to kick off the first one?
Yes.
Present that, okay. Amy Farkas, our township manager, is going to talk about the municipal solid waste ordinance.
Yep. So this public hearing tonight is for the revised municipal solid waste ordinance. This ordinance was adopted by each of the municipalities that participate in the COGS residential refuse and recycling contract. As you're all aware, the new contract actually starts April 1st. So we use this opportunity to review the recycling and the solid waste regulations and make some changes to make sure that the ordinance is complying with the contract provisions. So at this point, you can open the public hearing.
All right. Are there any comments from the public on the new proposed ordinance? Any from, oh, that would be for the public first, so let's see. So seeing none, I think the next step is to...
You need to close the public
Close it.
hearing.
I should have opened it with that, so I'm going to close it with that, I guess. And now I'll take comments from the board. Elliot.
Rather than trash talk, I move approval.
Do we have a second? Second. Okay, so we've got a second. Any other comments before we vote on this? I just want to thank our township manager for being on the working group for this. I think she's one of the original trash talkers in this
Yes, I am.
this community. She knows all about trash, well experienced. So thank you for your work on that. And I'll call for a vote. All those in favor of this new ordinance, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? None. The ayes have it. So we got our ordinance. And Amy, do you want to say anything about the second proposed
Yes.
hearing that's been canceled? Okay.
Yeah, so
Or
it's
been
not
postponed?
canceled, but we're going to have you take some action. But, so
open
this
it
is
up.
the conditional use hearing for the proposed Cava drive-through use over on Patton Crossing. So we've had some discussions in the interim. You opened this hearing at the February meeting and continued it to this date.
Yep.
We've had some discussions about the internal traffic flow. There's some additional analysis that is being done. So the developer has actually requested that we again continue this hearing to the March 26th meeting. So we would like you to open the hearing,
No,
vote
it's
to...
not open, it's not adjourned, sorry.
Reactivated or?
Guys, sorry, I'm not thinking of the right word. Huh?
Continue it?
Reconvene the hearing.
Reconvene it.
Take a motion to continue it, go through that, and then continue. You don't close the hearing, you just,
Continue it.
yeah, continue it.
Okay, so I move to reconvene.
You're just reconvening the hearing, and then you ask for a motion to
I'm
continue.
sorry, I'm reconvening the hearing, public hearing on the conditional use permit application for 1752 North Atherton Street, Patton Crossing.
I'll move.
So you make a motion now to continue the hearing.
Yeah, I move to continue.
For the next meeting, is there a second for that? Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the ayes have it, so we will continue.
So you will recess the hearing at this point to the March 26th meeting.
Okay, we've recessed it. We will continue the meeting at the continue the public hearing at the March 26th meeting.
Right.
Yep.
Great, okay, thank you very much. Super, so we are now on to public safety and our favorite Patton only chief of police. Take it away, Chief Jolly.
Thank you very much. As Larry pulls up my report here, we'll see that our officers in the month of February conducted 192 traffic stops. We wrote 15 citations, 4 parking tickets, and handled 23 criminal arrests. Under department notes, there was a 24-year-old male who we arrested for possessing a small amount of marijuana and possessing drug paraphernalia. He was stopped during an investigation into a retail theft offense from one of our township stores. The officers developed probable cause to seize his vehicle and apply for a search warrant. And the illegal items for the drug activity was located in addition to some the merchandise that we were looking for from the store. 28-year-old male was arrested for simple assault and harassment. Those charges stemmed from a fight with a family member, which grew physical when they suggested that he should not partake in any more alcohol. The male ended up biting the family member as a result of that incident. 18-year-old male was charged with trespassing, disorderly conduct, and public drunkenness. The male, who was extremely intoxicated, entered an apartment that he did not belong to. The resident confronted the male and asked him to leave. He refused to leave, so the resident actually had to physically remove him from his apartment. We made 10 arrests for retail theft, 5 for driving under the influence, served 1 warrant of the 7 we attempted, and a busy month for vacation home checks, we conducted 52 vacation home checks. We did use force during 2 incidents in the month of February. The first was a domestic dispute. Reporting party advised a male in the family, a male family member was out of control and had assaulted a couple people at the residence. Our officers arrived and attempted to handcuff the male, who began to physically arrest that handcuffing. So they took the male to the ground and were able to gain control of his arms. He was handcuffed successfully without any other incident, charged with simple assault and harassment. And nobody was injured in that one. The second one, our officers were dispatched, to a township school for a report of a student being disruptive and destructive. The student was throwing items at the school, including a chair at a staff member. And when our officers arrived to assist, they threw a shoe at one of our officers. So the officer had to physically restrain the student using very minimal force until that student had calmed down enough that staff could kind of take back control of the situation. No injuries were reported in that incident as well. And this is probably a time to stop and maybe just to give kudos, I guess, to Sergeant Brian Schaefer. He does our use of force instruction, and we actually just went through our yearly use of force updates. You know, for us, ideally, we de-escalate verbally a situation and never have to use force. But our officers are very, very well trained to use, again, the minimal amount of force necessary to effect an arrest. I think a lot of times people think when they hear use of force in police that we hurt people. That is never the intention. Our intention is always to make sure that the person that we're trying to control is safely put under control and that none of our officers or any innocent bystanders get hurt either. So he does a fantastic job instructing us good tactics and techniques for us to use the minimum amount of force to control individuals when we need to use force. So kudos to him. So. Under community relations, Officer Tuskovich provided a station tour for a few students from the Marikey School. That's out by the airport. I sat down and met with a resident in the CARES program who was moving into the township. Just had some questions about kind of our police department, about our officers, and kind of how we handle things in our jurisdiction as he was moving here from Ferguson. So it was nice to sit down and have a conversation with that individual. And then Officer Tuskovich also spoke to the 8th grade Park Forest Middle School social studies class about the Bill of Rights. Department training and activities. Our officers attended the tactical response team training. Detective Salade and Officer Finocchio attended a training on investigating overdose deaths. And Officer Snyder and Graff completed their 2 days of required training. Graff was deployed 3 times in the month of February. Once to the Greater Altoona Career and Technology Center, where he conducted sniffs of 5 classrooms. Once during a suspicious persons call, and then once on a traffic stop. During the suspicious persons call, he did alert on the vehicle, which gave the agency, which was Ferguson Township in this situation, the probable cause they needed to obtain a search warrant. So they did seize the car, obtain the search warrant, and that search yielded 4.5 grams of cocaine, 2 grams of methamphetamine, and about just over 2.5 grams of fentanyl as well. I attended, and I promise you, I must spell check this. It's not a human society, it's the Humane Society police officer. So
Human is spelled correctly.
Well, it is, but yeah. So Humane Society police officer meeting, which we have to again thank our law enforcement partners at the Sheriff's Department. Sheriff Samsel has done an excellent job. It's one of his employees who is in this role. Deputy Rusnak, and he is extremely busy. He has been on the move and on the go. So it's been a tremendous asset, though, to Center County to bring this on. So thanks to the Center County Commissioners and to the Sheriff's Department for housing this position. But so far it's off and running and it's doing a really good job. In fact, they're actually considering another deputy to help Deputy Rusnak because he's so busy. So. I also attended the Community Campus and Unity meeting, and then the manager and I attended the Public Employee Labor Relations Advisory Service, or PELRAS, Labor and Personnel Management Conference last week, 2 weeks ago in Hershey. Yeah. So. All right, and then we did receive a nice note from an individual who their son was actually in the middle of a heart attack. He was pulled into the sheets over here, I believe it was at Valley Vista. And experienced symptoms of a heart attack. So just the mother reached out to thank Sergeant Shapenko for his very speedy response and for assisting her son until advanced care could come and transport him to the hospital. And lastly, my record list of calls for service. Our officers handled 561 calls for service in the month of February. That's up from the 553 we handled in January. 205 were school checks, so again, very active, checking on schools, even during school hours and after. And then 53 were traffic incidents. So that completes my report.
Awesome, thank you very much. Any comments from members of the board? Oh, Ms. Robb.
Chief, I hope you can hear me.
I can.
At our public safety meeting yesterday, I just want to give you kudos to our officers. It came from Jason, and it also came from emergency management about our officers arriving first before EMT and how professional of saving lives that Patton Township police officers do. And I just want to please for our board to pass that on how proud we are of hearing stories like this. So continue the great work. Thank you.
And so then I owe somebody else kudos too, now that you jogged my memories. So Officer Vince Finocchio, again, as part of our in-service training and yearly training, we just did our CPR first aid updates as well. He teaches us in stop the bleed, tourniquets, so they get really good training. We have great equipment thanks to the board. So yeah, we really appreciate that from the EMT community, that we are always there to help any other first responders at all times.
Jonathan holds you and our police department in the highest regards because of that. So
Appreciate
thank
it.
you.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Any other comments? And I'd like to share once again, I've mentioned it several times before, how lucky we are to have a police department that understands the use of force, how important it is as a management tool, and how very easily it is misconstrued or misperceived by the public. So having you as the leader, having Officer Brian Schaefer, you say doing the instruction, we've got two excellent people involved. And your reports to the board, I think, serve to reach to a larger audience, which is the public, and we need to do that often and early. So I really thank you for that. What is the name of the officer at the county level, Officer who's working?
So it's Deputy Mark Rusnak. Yeah.
RUS?
N-A-K? Yeah, Rusnak.
Mark, okay, I've heard that. Thank you so much, I really appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Okay, sure. Any other comments from the names? We are on now to Public Works Operations, and we're going to start with Resolution 2025-05, which is an application for county aid for the North Oak Lane Rehabilitation Project, which involves drainage.
Yes.
Is that what yeah.
So we were awarded $65,000 in the county liquid fuels grant funding for the North Oak Lane project. The funding is going to be used actually to improve some stormwater drainage along the roadway, and it's part of a larger paving project that we're going to complete this year. We started last year on that project. We did also receive another $106,000 from the state of Pennsylvania for that project. So more than half of that project is actually being funded with grant dollars, which is amazing and will help us stretch some of those monies into other projects this summer. So to accept the funding from the county, we just need the board to approve a resolution certifying that we will follow PennDOT's regulations for the use of the funds.
Super, can I have somebody, let me guess. Mr. Abrams, would you like to make a motion? And would somebody like to second that?
Second.
We got a second? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? The ayes have it. Again, thank you for your work on that.
It was all Michelle, our engineer. Michelle has been amazing with these road projects.
Michelle, thank you for your work on that. That's great. Yeah, it takes a team. We are now going to move to engineering, planning, and zoning, and we are honored to hear from Planning Commission member James Proat. Okay, you're going to correct me on that, and I believe this is the first time you've presented to us, is it? Welcome to the Planning Commission.
Thank you. Good evening.
And pronounce your name, James?
Proant.
Proat. Gotcha, thank you. Okay.
At the Patton Township Planning Commission meeting of March 3rd, we entertained a permit request from Mountain Indy Health and continued the review of short-term rentals. Mountain Indy Health is requesting a temporary use permit, the details of which I see are in your packet. And Township staff recommended and the Commission approved this request for consideration by the Board of Supervisors, subject to Mountain Indy attaining all the necessary licenses. At our February meeting, we started a review of the short-term rental situation in Patton Township, which elicited further comments from the public and from Commission members. The Commission staff evaluated the complexity of the issue with regard to owner financial commitments, the reality of local employment arising from short-term rentals, the unique services provided for events by these rentals relative to hotels, and the lack of hard data on both the number of short-term rentals in Patton Township and the type and number of concerns raised explicitly in regard to these units. Several owners spoke from the public at our meeting with regard to upkeep and safety, and stating that they were at least as committed to positive outcomes as owners given their need to market their products to tenants. The staff reviewed these concerns and collected regulations from local and other municipalities regarding short-term rentals and proposed a mandatory permit system with an August 1st deadline for application and a formal point system for violations and enforcement. After 12 months, these findings will provide hard data for review to determine further regulations when necessary. The Commission approved this proposal, and further information will be forthcoming to you as our review proceeds.
Yeah, any comments or questions from board members? Thank you very much.
Oh, sure, thank you.
And I wanted to, are we going to be addressing specifically the short-term rentals? in
No,
our
you'll
agenda?
see that in April.
Okay, perfect. I mean, not perfect, but I just wanted to confirm that.
Yep.
Might have made a suggestion here. I actually have heard from 2 community members about this issue. If we could somehow put a button on the website that says issue alert or something, short-term rental. And I've asked these 2 people to actually communicate with the township to be put on the notification list.
Yep.
So anybody listening who has an interest in short-term rental, you can ask to be put on the notification list for the planning commission. You can then read the agenda. Also for the board meeting, you can read the agenda and then decide if you want to attend and comment. So, but I think drawing it to people's attention with a button might be appropriate for the next few months. Great, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, yes, it's back to me. Awesome. So speaking of planning commission, we are given the opportunity to appoint a new member to the planning commission. It's one of our vital commissions here. And it has come to my attention that there's a recommendation, somebody already sitting on the board, and I'll let our manager, Amy Farkas, pronounce that name and suggest to the board that we appoint her to come on the commission.
So Jim Payne is stepping off the planning commission as he's moving out of the area. He's been on the planning commission since 2020, so it's a loss to us. But Kristen Zanishak joined the planning commission as an alternate in January, and she has been phenomenal. She works in the property management side of things, so she has a great understanding, particularly with the discussion on the short-term rentals. So we would recommend, and she's very interested in stepping into the role that Jim's vacating.
Mm-hmm. So we'll need a motion to make that recommendation. Anybody want to make that motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
We have a second, okay. All those in favor of this placement signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Or the motion, aye. And those opposed? No opposition. So we'll welcome Ms. Janishak. Oh, it's Janishak. Beautiful, thank you. To the Planning Commission and be a fellow member with Jim Prowett. Awesome, get in there. Okay. And as Mr. Prowett mentioned in his report, we are now going to address the request from the Mount Nittany Health for a temporary use permit to have an event at their parking lot, at their new facility.
Yeah, so they're going to have a community event on Saturday, May 3rd from 9 to 12. They're expecting 250 people to attend the event. We provided the details of the number of tents and the things that they're planning on doing. The Planning Commission, like Jim said, did review it, and they didn't find anything out of the ordinary.
Mm-hmm. Sounded good to me. So in anticipation, is there somebody who wants to make the motion that we approve this temporary request, or temporary use? Yes, Elliot.
I make the motion, but I have a comment to offer.
Okay, why don't you make the motion and then do we have a second for that? Second? And now any comments from the board? Elliot?
The current situation with the signing around their new building is horrendous. There are signs that don't point the right direction or don't point in any direction and are totally unhelpful. And we let them open under the promise that when spring came, they would fix this quickly, and so now's a great time to take care of that.
I can reach out to them.
Great. And I would like to add, in fact, I'll get with the manager after this meeting, briefly some comments about the location of handicap parking and the entrance and a rail around the entrance, which my husband has a lot of experience with. So it's a bit of a challenge. Thank you for...
The same thing.
Yeah, thanks for reminding me about that. I just think it could be improved, and they need to, I think they'd appreciate our feedback. So we moved, did we vote on that?
No, you did not.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion to approve for the temporary use permit to Mount Nittany Health, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? So the ayes have it. They have their temporary use permit. We're moving on to administration. We have a real estate tax collection update, and I'm assuming this is going to be taken by our fearless Director of Finance, Larry Pager.
Yes, it is.
Good.
So I'm going to try to be brief, though I could go on for a long time on this issue, but I'm going on vacation Friday afternoon, so I have to be done by then. So as you know, as Patton Township residents and taxpayers, we have started with a new tax collection software, so your bills look different, and we've combined the county and the township on one bill. The new company is called GSS. Doesn't matter what it stands for, it's just GSS. It is not really a decision that we at Patton Township made. It was a decision made by the county assessor's office. So they decided to use this program, which forced our hand in changing it. Since county decided to change, the school district decided to change, it didn't make much sense for the township to remain with the old company, so we went with the new company. In that conversion from the old company to the new company, I've been through many computer conversions in my life, and I don't expect them to go smoothly. But there were some very frustrating things that I think that the board should be aware of, because some of them did affect the residents of Patton Township. We, as you know, have assessments for streetlights and fire hydrants. The old company would take our file of streetlight and fire hydrant assessments and upload it into their software so they would print on the necessary tax bills that got assessed that. The new company at first refused to do that and said that we had to enter them in by hand. I explained to them that the total amount of entries I would make would be in excess of 5,000 properties, and that I didn't have time to do that. And after Amy's help, we got them to upload that information. They uploaded that information, however, it took until the Wednesday afternoon before the bills went out on Friday before they gave me an option to look at those. So that was during Pelras. I unfortunately was not at Pelras because I was home ill, but I was on my computer in my office at home checking this out, and the information that they uploaded was incorrect. So I got in touch with them knowing that the bills were going out on Friday and asked them to correct it. We worked back and forth all day Thursday. We got it corrected. And I was a little bit less stressed until Monday morning when I showed back up to work, and the first person that came through the door to pay their bill was incorrect. So even though we changed the information and I made sure the information on the system was correct, the information that went out on the bills was incorrect. So the bills did not agree with the system, and we cannot collect amount that does not agree with the amount on the system. So then I spoke with GSS directly. I sent out an email to everybody under the sun that I was not happy with the performance we were getting, and they then sent out replacement bills. So You might have gotten a revised bill in the mail. Some of our residents, I'm sure, have gotten the revised bill in the mail. We also put signs up all over the foyer to please stop in if you're here to pay for your bill, so that we can make sure that the bill that you're paying is actually the correct amount. We put the information out on the website. We put the information out on social media. And it also will be in the printed newsletter that's going to all the residents, that we had to send out corrected bills. So we've been dealing with that. In the meantime, you know, there is close to 2,000 of our properties that are paid via escrow company. And we have 5 different escrow companies that are out there that pay bills, ranging from one escrow company that pays 1 bill to the 5th escrow company that pays about 1,550 bills. The system did not have any way to export the information from the computer system so that we could send it to the escrow companies, even though I went through and put the escrow company information into the system. And my belief is that if the information is in the system, I should be able to get the information back out of the system. So I talked to them, as well as many other tax collectors, talked to them and said, no, we need the way to get it out of the system. They finally, first of all, I asked the GSS, who had said in a number of meetings that they have the information in the format that these escrow companies want, and they just provide the escrow companies with this information. So I reached out to them on Tuesday after the mailing thing was all taken care of, the corrected bills were taken, reached out to them and said, hey, just double checking that you sent this information to the escrow companies, because that is obviously, you know, 45% of our properties are paid by escrow. I don't want to not get paid. They responded with, no, we don't send that information to the escrow company. So I remembered in another meeting that the county said that the escrow companies come in and purchase the information off the county, and so the county would get it, and I then reached out to the county and said that the escrow companies purchase this information off of you, and their response was, we don't understand your question. And I said, my question is, do I have to send the escrow companies this information myself? And the answer to that was yes. So at this point in time, I lost complete faith in GSS. I lost complete faith in the county office providing this information, so I only had faith in Larry Peggard to provide this information. So finally got GSS to allow me to export all the properties, our 2,000 properties that are paid by escrow, but they didn't provide which escrow company which property goes to. So I had a file of 2,000 properties, which I started with the escrow company that has 1 property, and I entered that into the worksheet, and then I went to the next one that had 40 properties, and I entered those 40 in, and did it for the 4, and assumed, or made the assumption that the last ones that weren't marked all went to the one that has 1,550, and there were a couple that were missing, and I picked those up, made sure everything was okay, and I sent it out to the escrow companies. However, it took me 2.5 days of pretty much only working on that So those are the 2.5 days that Amy thought I was mad at her because I wasn't talking to her, but I was in my office doing that. So then after I did all that, they finally came out with a way to download it by escrow company, but you could only download the individual copies of the bills. So in order to send this 1,550 properties to the one escrow company, I would have a PDF file of 1,550 pages. And we can't email a file that big. So I luckily sent that information out myself. So I just wanted to let you guys know that these are the instances we ran into in doing this software. Like I said, unfortunately, we didn't know this software was going to be chosen before it was chosen. We're the ones that use it, but we weren't given the opportunity to have any input in it. So I wanted to apologize to the bills, to you, the board, and to all the residents that the bills went on incorrectly. I just want to assure you that I did my best that they would not go on incorrectly. However, they went on anyways, and we're not going to be paying for the mailing and printing of the replacement bills. The DSS is going to do that because that was one of my stipulations in my email, that I wasn't going to pay for it because it wasn't my mistake. So if you have any questions, I'll answer any questions, but I apologize.
Any questions or comments? Pam, Ms. Rock.
Larry, you said other municipalities, other tax offices is going through the same thing, right?
Yes. Yes. Now, they don't all have assessments like we do.
Okay.
So that was an extra wrinkle that Patton Township has. They don't have the street light and hydrant assessments that we do. And some of them who did have them, they didn't change from last year, so they just went with last year's information.
Okay.
What I'm hearing, and I'm hearing it from other municipalities as well, the tax problem that the county has now thrust upon getting this company and not talking to the people that work in the tax offices and did not have any input in getting these people. And now we have to clean up. It's not right. It's not right. You know, we're taking you, I'm looking at, we have Valerie coming on.
Yes.
We have all of this, and our residents are coming after us because they're receiving 2 bills, which they thought they took care of the first one, now they're getting a second bill. It's, I think, I want to ask Betsy if it is all possible that the board can send a letter to the county and tell them, we are not happy with this. Are we out of bounds with saying that?
I think as you would with any vendor, you can certainly respond. I mean, I think your staff has already told them, so it won't be a surprise.
Yes. Yes, we will.
Yeah,
I think we have a little more
Yes.
force than our staff. They probably hear it, but if they start hearing it from the elected officials, I think they'll sit up and take note that we are not happy with this. We are not.
Well, and I think that letter should go directly to the commissioners, not to the county administrator.
Yeah,
I think that would be my suggestion, because I think they need to hear it. Yes, peer-to-peer, and they need to hear it.
And I do want to let everybody know too that the face that you're used to seeing when you pay your taxes, Jackie Bensu, she is retiring at the end of the month. And we have promoted our former Public Works Administrative Assistant to now Tax Specialist, that's Valerie Good. And both of them have been excellent in helping with the conversion from the old system to the new system. Jackie is helping bring Valerie up to speed on what paperwork needs to be done, and Valerie has been working above and beyond in dealing with handling the phone calls, because believe it or not, some residents were not happy, so they called in, and Valerie has been handling that. And that is also why I have been taking on some of the one-time only things, because Valerie and Jackie already have enough on their plate. And so my kudos go out to my staff.
And it's not fair. It is not
I
fair.
think, I'm not sure, I saw Susan, have you had your hand up for a while?
Well, no, in tax terms, this company suffered a long-term loss.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Okay. And Susan?
So my question is, because my mortgage is through a credit union in another state, and I don't
Right.
know, like, should I double check with them?
I
What should I
would
do?
recommend that anybody who has, and actually, it's not very big, but it's small on your bill, I think it does recommend that you get in touch with your mortgage company, just to make sure, especially this year. I would recommend that everybody contact their mortgage company if their taxes are paid through escrow.
Yeah, because mine is, they're actually changing their name and stuff too, so it's
Yeah.
probably like.
So most credit unions, most banks, most mortgage companies, they actually subcontract out to these companies that all they do is pay escrows. So they'll actually send the information directly to these escrow companies. Or these escrow companies actually, we send the information directly to the escrow companies. The escrow company would send me a list in January of all the properties that they pay.
Okay.
And then I send them how much taxes each property owes. But I would recommend to everybody, if you have a mortgage, if it's paid through your mortgage company, to just verify with your mortgage company that they have a copy of the information.
So, anybody else have? Yeah, good advice. How are we going to make sure that everyone gets that advice? We can put it up on the website, but people don't go to the website.
Well,
Are we-
it's actually, it's marked on every tax bill.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
also, I think I listed that
Okay.
in the newsletter.
Thank you.
But
Okay.
of course, as I've said before, you can put it in front of somebody, that doesn't mean they're gonna read it.
Exactly, yeah.
So,
Okay.
we're trying to get the word out as best we can.
So,
The corrected ones are already out, like we should have
Yes.
received
The
them?
corrected ones went out, so Monday we found out they were incorrect.
Okay.
And they went out that Tuesday. So they went out last Tuesday, over
Okay.
a week ago at this point.
No,
So
I've
if you
never
were
seen
getting the corrected one, but everybody didn't have
Yeah,
all the, both, it was only those bills that had both the street lights and the fire hydrants that had to be correct.
okay.
So it wasn't every bill. That's the
Okay.
other sad part. If it was everyone, I could say everyone wait for a bill, but I can't say that because it wasn't every tax bill that was
Yeah,
incorrect.
I don't have those things on my sheet.
okay.
So your bill should be correct.
So you're good.
And anybody who wants to certainly can call into the office and verify the tax amount. We'll be more than happy to tell you that the amount that we have on our system agrees with the amount that you have on your bill.
Great, great. So just by word of mouth, certainly that would help.
Yes.
But people should read it. I'd also like to, did you have your hand up again?
I did, so
Sorry.
you said it was GSS was the company?
Yes.
I thought it was DSH,
DSH?
Dewey, Cheatham, and Howell.
Yeah.
So I would like to have included in this letter, and I would be glad, or anybody on the board, I think, to view the letter that's written. I would like to request that Larry Peger receive an apology. He's made apologies, and Valerie and Jackie have made apologies. I think it would be very,
necessary, but.
well, I think it would be very appropriate. The board would request that an apology be formally shared with Mr. Pager. And I'd also like to know, and this doesn't have to go in the letter, but what guarantee can they give us that this will not be repeated next year? Or maybe we need to put that in the letter.
Well, hopefully, we have to go through this process again in July.
Oh, right.
When the school district bills come in.
Okay.
And already we have started the process to go over the problems that everybody had, to see what we can do to avoid those same issues when the school district, because the school district certainly doesn't want to go through what we just went through.
It's a little bit bigger.
And then we collect for the school district, so the information that goes to escrow, I still have to do. So I would like to have the report where I can download it into an Excel worksheet by escrow company.
Okay.
So I don't have to do it myself for 2.5 days. So, but there's already a group where we're taking some people from GSS, some people from the counties, some people from the school district, some people from the municipalities,
Good.
all meeting together on a regular basis to prevent this from happening in July. If we can get that smooth, then next year will go just as smooth.
Then good luck, all of, the best of luck. That's all that we can ask for is
Yes.
a concerted effort and that it go well. So good luck. Any other comments? And I apologize, but you have to go through that. Yeah, ha, boy. That's a hard act. Oh, did you, yeah,
Question.
raise your hand. Yes.
Larry, will all of this be caught up by the end of March? I know you're going on vacation and bringing Valerie in, and I know you'll be constantly calling in, but.
Yes, so yes, it should all be resolved, hopefully, most of it, I'm expecting will be resolved by the end of this week. But, there's always going to be those stragglers who received the second bill and decided I already received this bill and throw the wrong one away. So that's going to always be with us. We're going to always have, I would imagine, some residents who are looking at the wrong. So we're going to still keep that note out there that, just to double check that you're paying the correct amount. Because that can go all the way through to the end of the year.
Okay, thank you.
Good questions, good comments all. And thank you, Larry. Yeah, really. And Valerie and Jackie also, yeah. So that is, as I was going to say, a hard act to follow, but I'm really excited about Local Government Week, and Amy Farkas is going to take it away. Oh, and actually, I want to call out attention to Casey Lynch and Sophie
Weston.
Weston, who are really spearheading this.
Yes,
Amy will
yeah.
probably say that also.
So Local Government Week will be celebrated April 8th through the 14th. So that is our chance to show our residents what Patton Township does and what we do well. So Casey and Sophie there are our young ones in the room, so they help us come up with good ideas. So they're helping us come up with some ideas. So we've come up with a scavenger hunt throughout the township, which our friends at CNET have already told me they would like to participate because they feel like they could win. They may have an unfair advantage. We're also going to distribute a local government workbook to our elementary age students in the township. We're going to bring back the ever popular coffee and conversation with the manager, this time on Saturday morning at Circleville Road Park in the pavilion. So we're going to hope for nice weather on April 12th. And then we would like to do the open house again on April 17th from 5 to 6:30 and have the supervisors there. I've already confirmed our rock star Graf will be available. So he brings them in, and we'll also have hope to have some trucks and maybe some things from the fire company as well, so we can have some touch of truck stuff. So if you have any other thoughts of things you'd like to try or do for Local Government Week, we're certainly open to anything, because like I said, we want to showcase the good work that we do here in Patton Township for our residents.
Pam?
Amy, I know you brought it up before, coffee with. Year into, we have yet to have coffee with the board. So I would put that on your agenda, that at least as they're doing the coffee with the township, they have yet to have it with, I know one or two of us could definitely make time.
And you are all certainly welcome to attend coffee with the manager as well. But yes, we can definitely set that up for you guys as well.
Yeah, and when you list it as well as meeting with the board.
What's the date again?
Elliot?
What's the date?
April 12th is the date of the coffee with the manager.
And that's here?
It will be at Circleville Road Park in the pavilion.
Yeah, it's in the,
Okay.
yeah.
Pavilion number 2 off of
agenda.
Circleville Road
Yeah.
from 9 to 10:30.
So, anyone else comment? And I'll just mention that I talked to Amy before the meeting about the possibility of putting up some road signs or getting one of the electronic signs to announce that, or maybe getting Kish Bank to announce certainly the open house here. I think it's an exciting thing. People may not know it, but it is exciting. And so if we hold it, they will come. That's my story. Let's see. So we've had the exciting, the consent agenda, which is a sort of a pro forma. We only have 2 items on the agenda, consent agenda, which are the minutes from the February meeting and the February voucher support. So I'd like to hear a motion to pass the consent agenda.
So moved.
A second? Okay, second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you very much. And the show-stopping Amy Farkas is going to give us the manager's report.
I really hope this
Here we
is
go.
not the highlight of your evening. So just a couple of things to touch on. Number one, officials spring convention will be held in this very lovely meeting room on April 29th. It's going to start at 5 o'clock. Valerie Good is our secretary treasurer. I'm the second vice president. So we have been pulling down a lot of double duty on this, trying to get this planned. We are asking actually the folks from GSS and the county to come to talk about the software stuff. Because the tax collectors typically come to that. I know Pam and I talked to some of them at the fall convention. They're typically at those events as well. So we'd like to have them give them a chance to talk. And then we just got an invite. The PML is holding their district meeting in Altoona on March 20th. It's from 11:30 to 1:30. Lunch will be provided. I am going. If any of you would like to come along, I just need to register everybody. And I certainly can drive folks from the township.
Ooh. What's the date again? March 20th?
March 20th. 11:30 to 1:30, it's in Altoona.
If you let me. Oh, come on. Sorry. Yeah, I'll go to that.
Okay,
I hope you
I'll
don't
register
mind
you.
waiting. Anybody else interested? Elliot? Yeah. You want to go? Oh, and that's Elliot?
Elliot wants to go as well? Okay.
And Pam is checking?
It's next Thursday.
Next Thursday.
And I know one of us has a full-time job.
Yeah.
A very important one, actually.
I could be laid off any day,
There you go. I'm sure we could fit you in. No. Okay, Pam, you checking?
Yeah, no, I'm good.
You want to go?
Okay.
And then one last thing to bring up, CBICC is putting together a working group to talk about a road connection to the airport. They've asked Patton Township, they've asked myself, and then to have someone else. I would like to put our CATA rep on that connection, because I think it's important for CATA to be involved early in those discussions, because CATA really needs to service the airport, in my mind. And CATA is supportive of being included on that. So if you're okay with that, I'll just submit their.
That's a good idea.
Okay, and with that, I'm good.
Great. Okay, that brings us to committee reports. Does anyone here have anything to add or to say? Yes, Ms. Rao.
I'll be adding on to my public safety report on the 26th. But I want to put on record that I met with the First Energy Emergency Service consultant, Jason Christ.
Yes.
And he spoke about how our power outages is handled. Great presentation. He asked that we be patient when our power goes out. They're shorthanded, but their crews are dedicated to getting our power up and running. They said, he emphasized that when your power goes out, to please call, regardless of whether you think your neighbor called or not, to please call so they'll have a record of it. Because if Half Moon calls with 2 and Patton has 1,700, they'll go to what is recorded. So he's asked that we definitely go online to report it or call it in. The second thing that was reported, he said, if you do not hear from them in 2 hours, to please call back so they can keep it updated. Also, they are looking to train linemen that last year they didn't pay for the training. This year, they will pay for the training, which is major. So we're asking, it is a 2-year training program, but it is paid for. So I ask that the breakdown for Patton Township, the number of customers is 6,731 customers in Patton. The total amount of customers in the center region with the different municipalities are 37,000. So he said, just be patient, and that they are working diligently to make sure when there's a power outage that they get their crews safely to get our power up. The other thing with the wind, whether that with the strong winds, when they sent out the bucket crew, if it's 30 miles per hour, if it's over that, they will not send any linemen up. So be patient. When the winds die down, then they'll send their people up. But it's a safety issue. 30 miles per hour, they will not. So keep that on your record. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Anything they want to talk about? Okay. Seeing none of that, we're down to.
We don't need to do the executive session.
Exactly.
That was canceled.
Yeah, so before I go to item 13, I'll usually ask the manager or person in charge if there are any items that they want to bring up on the information. I'll read that. Okay, so I'll now take a motion for item 13, which is to adjourn.
So, second.
Okay, all right. So I believe it's Motion's made. I don't think we have to vote on it. We'll just make a motion. Okay. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you all for attending. And Elliot, and thank you, Jim.
Be surprised.